Welcome back to another episode of Rose Resource Room. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about contentment in the chaos. And I'm using the word chaos a little bit loosely because chaos is not something that I allow in my life. I don't have drama. Um, I don't tolerate it. I don't normalize it. It's not something that I allow. But I'm using the word chaos a little bit loosely. And one thing you'll realize is that a lot of these recordings come from something that happened in my life. And I'm just like, you know what? I want to talk about that. So you may be like, whoa, she's going to talk about something for 20 minutes based on the wind blowing. And yes, maybe I will because I'm easily inspired. What I will say is that I'm not quite sure where this is going. I don't have a point yet, but by the end of the recording, I will. I will land somewhere, hopefully. Pray for me. So here's what happened. I'm not sure if you've ever had those days where you're doing the 12 p.m. scramble. You know every single day that your kids need to eat lunch. You know every single day that your kids need to eat dinner. But for some reason, you either get into the zone and then you look up and it's 11:58 and you're like, what are we doing for lunch, right? Maybe you have food in the freezer, but nothing has been defrosted yet. Nothing has been thawed out. Maybe you don't even have groceries. You didn't think about that piece. This day wasn't exactly that. What really happened is I was like, okay, I want to make sure that when lunchtime rolls around, I have food and I have options ready. So I had like multiple burners going. I was making quinoa, I was making rice, I was making spaghetti, I had shrimp season, I had tuna steak season, and I was just really ready to have a day where I wasn't looking up like, okay, what are we doing today? I'm such a productive person. I'm such an organized person, but I will have like these amazing moments and then I miss like one thing. So this particular day, I was in the kitchen and I pulled the spaghetti and about a quart of it fell. And I was like, oh my gosh. It's kind of like the man in Second Kings with the axe that was borrowed. He was like, alas, my master, it was borrowed. For me, it was like, Lord, that was organic. Why did a quart of it spill? But anyways, like if you came in, you'd be like, what is going on? I have my 1 year old sitting in his high chair and he's eating and he has like stuff all over his food tray. And then like he's dropping his eggs on the floor and there's like blueberries and strawberries and like just this, maybe some people may look at it as art, but just this messy situation. And then I spill the pasta. So there's like pasta all over the floor. And then my boys didn't know it spilled. So they're walking on it. And it was like a real mess. And what really surprised me was my contentment because I don't do well with clutter. Clutter affects my mental space, and I need my house to be physically clean. It doesn't have to be like zen and, just like it doesn't have to look like a monk lives there, but I need space and I need order in my home. But I looked into the kitchen and there was like pasta over here and then food over here, and just like it was a mess. I say all that to say I was so surprised about how content I was in the middle of that chaos. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do a podcast recording on that because it's so important for us to have peace in the middle of the storm. It's so important for us to be content in the chaos. So I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know what situations you're facing, but I really do hope that you, that's my baby, he's waking up. So clearly someone has a sense of humor because here I am talking about contentment in the chaos, and my baby decides to wake up in the middle of recording and it just feels that his hand needs to be right here. So we're gonna keep going. I don't remember what I was talking about, but I know I told you about the spaghetti being on the floor and the place being a mess and that we need to have contentment in the middle of the storm. So let's go. All right. So I'm doing all these things and I was really, really surprised about how peaceful I was. And I was like, okay, let me hop on and talk to you about doing that. So I think one of the things that has to do with is letting go of control. When we recognize that we can't control everything and we start to surrender our worries and our anxieties to God, knowing that He's fully capable of handling them better than we can, it allows us to trust in His wisdom and goodness. And I hope you can hear me over Twinkle Twinkle Let It Start instrumental. When we try to control everything, we often end up feeling overwhelmed, anxious, and exhausted. So when we start to surrender these worries and anxieties to God, it's an act of trust and faith. When we release these things, it releases the burden of trying to manage everything on our own. And we can find peace in knowing that He cares for us and He cares for us deeply. So instead of solely relying on our strength, we can lean on him and draw from his presence. So if you're reflecting on a chaotic moment in your life and perhaps you're starting to feel overwhelmed by the unpredictability of it all, I just challenge you that amidst the scramble of daily life, finding moments of contentment is not only helpful, but it's mission critical. It is so necessary um, for us to just look at things that are working right. And it's not a matter of toxic positivity where you're like, oh, well, here's a silver lining, it could have been worse. It's not about that. It's really about reflecting on his goodness and his mercy and his favor and walking in gratitude and thankfulness, right? The Bible instructs us to be thankful in all things and to give praise in all things and in every situation, thank God. So I'm not saying thank you that my pasta spilled because I'm still a little salty about that. But I am thankful that in the midst of the situation, at least I have my peace, at least I have my family, at least I have all these different things, right? So whenever we have that tension between wanting to control everything and realizing our limitations, I think in moments like that, we just pray for clarity and guidance. It's a powerful step. It's an acknowledgement that we're seeking to find peace in the middle of the storm, that we're seeking to find contentment in the chaos. So trusting in God's wisdom and goodness is an anchor in the storm. And it's a reminder that there's someone greater than us. And Jesus sees the bigger picture. So whether it's the spaghetti on the floor or the eggs all over the place or something bigger, right? Because this is a third world problem. Like in the grand scheme of things, this is not a big deal. But it just really reminded me that even in the midst of spilled spaghetti and multiple burners, cooking, there's a lesson to be learned about trust in the process. And sometimes life throws curveballs at us, and all we can do is trust that things will work out in the end. And, letting go of control doesn't mean that we're giving up, but rather it's surrendering to God and to his goodness in the midst of uncertainty. So I just hope that, this reflection is a reminder for you to lean into faith during times of chaos and to trust that God is capable of handling even the messiest moments of our lives. So as you continue to navigate through the chaos, may you find moments of contentment and peace, knowing full well that you're not alone in the journey. You're not alone because you have a community of homeschool families who are doing this with you. You have a community of moms, of dads, of parents, of people who love you and are cheering you on. But most importantly, you have Jesus, and he said he will never leave you, he will never forsake you. So just remember that whatever is going on in your life, as you're trying to navigate that, remember that he loves you and he wants to do it with you. So don't do it alone. Seek him and, find out what he suggests that you do. Another thing I'll say is it's important for you to stay grounded in scripture. It's one thing to have a card, that you're memorizing. It's a whole different thing when you've memorized it and it's in your spirit and you can pull that up when you need it, right? Like when you're in the middle of a fight, you don't want to say, oh, hold up, let me go get my memory card real quick. Let me go get my gloves real quick. You want to have all the tools you need. You want to be fully dressed and clothed in the armor. So make sure that whatever you're going through, you always have a scripture that you're standing on. And when it feels hard in those moments, that's what you pull out mentally. You pull it out in your head and you say, okay, I'm going to meditate on this. I'm going to repeat on this. So instead of nursing and rehearsing the problem, you're going to meditate on that scripture. And, the Bible talks about speaking to our mountains, and that really means speaking to our problems. But instead of speaking to our problems, you speak about them. There's a man of God, Charles Capps, that says, my people can have anything they say, but they keep saying what they have. So instead of talking about the thing that you don't want, how about speaking about the thing that God says you can have? How about you start calling those things that be not as though they were? So just continue to see God's presence in every moment, even in the difficult circumstances. Um, the last thing I'll probably talk about is the importance of gratitude again, just cultivating that spirit of gratitude by counting your blessings and focusing on the good things in your life can change your perspective. No matter how small the things seem, thank God for his faithfulness and provision. If you see my hand doing like this, I'm stroking my baby's head. Um, so yes, you can have peace in the middle of the storm. You can have contentment in chaos. And I just pray that whatever you're going through, you realize that there's someone so much bigger, so much greater, who has seen it all, who knows the end, and he's on your side. He's chancing for you to win. So whatever it is, cast your cares on him because he cares for you. Find Intentionally find ways to have peace in the middle of the storm. And these storms are things that are thrown upon you. I'm not talking like if you have drama in your life, like get rid of it. Don't tolerate that. You don't need drama in your life. But if there's some kind of situation that you don't have control over, then really relinquish that to God and get help and see what God's best for you. Yes, but don't accept drama. A lot of people think drama is just a natural part of life, but it's really about perspective. I don't have any drama in my life. I don't have friends who um, give me drama. I don't have situations of drama. That is just not something I tolerate in my life. It's not a norm, and I refuse to normalize it. That's not something that I'm going to allow to be my life. But those other situations that you can't control, just give it to God. All right. I think that's enough. I hope that this has resonated with you. I hope that this plane has landed. And I pray that something I said sparks something for you to just be thankful. So if this resonated with you, feel free to like, subscribe, or share, or feel free to drop a comment in the comment section. All right, talk to you soon.